Hello and welcome to GNO. That's Gaia Night Online, and this is where we come together as the Gaia Blooming community to pull cards for the week ahead. I don't know if anyone's joining me tonight or not, but you are welcome to. If you would like to come pull cards with me, just click the link on our Gaia Blooming Facebook page, it's Gaia Blooming on Facebook, and come join me and pull cards with me for this amazing week ahead. And otherwise, if you'd like cards pulled for you, you can join me after the show, after we go off air. So we have such an incredible week this week. We have Mercury actually preparing to shift right now. Mercury will shift into Aries, like basically at the end of this show. Tomorrow, Mars, the planet of action, is shifting out of Aries and into Taurus. We have the moon shifting into Virgo and then into Libra and bringing this full moon lunar eclipse on Saturday, and then a few more things that we'll get to. So I will start with Mercury in Aries, and for that I pulled the flowering card, and I love this card. She's fully in bloom, and I like it because I feel like, you know, Mercury has been in Pisces, kind of finishing up the energy of 2014. And now it's moving into Aries. And Aries is the sign that begins spring. Spring. The spring equinox begins on Aries when the sun moves into Aries. And so this is just saying it's time for our mind, our consciousness, our thoughts all to bloom. And as we shift our thoughts out of the old, letting the old behind, which today was an amazing astro day for leaving the past behind with the sun conjunct the south node and, you know, all that energy. And now it's time to move into the present and bring our dreams and ideas into fruition for our garden for this year. So I love that. Time to move forward. So hopefully today you've let go of the past, let go of, you know, any old stuff that you've been keeping around you, so that you can bloom. And I actually really like, I looked in the book to see what he said about this. Osho had to say about this. It says, you might feel like a garden of flowers right now, showered with blessings from everywhere. Welcome the bees. Invite the birds to drink your nectar and spread your joy around for all to share. So I really love that. And from the goddesses, I'm pulling from the Goddess Oracle, Goddess Guidance Oracle from Doreen Virtue, I pulled Anye. Leap of faith, and that's so the Aries energy. It says, take a risk and put your heart's true desire into action. So, you know, even though Mercury is all this, you know, thinking, thought, communication, all that, we do have Mars. Mars was just in Aries helping us put into action, and Mars about to shift into Taurus is like slow and steady production. So use those energies together to start, you know, putting your desires into action. Take those leaps of faith. So then tomorrow, like I said, Mars, the planet of action, is moving into Taurus. And Taurus is a funny sign. Taurus is ruled by Venus traditionally, but I also see it as being ruled by the Earth. So it has this very kind of sensual energy when you combine like the beauty and love aspect of Venus with the practical aspect of Earth energy. It brings you into a sensuality, but it's a great sign for getting things done. But it's slow and steady wins the race. It's not always that, you know, Aries, boom, 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 things are happening. It's like, hey, as we go along, things happen. And the other thing about Taurus, which is perfect with this card, Taurus is about really looking at your self-esteem and your worth and your value. Taurus is great. That's one of the earthly things that Taurus is so great with, the financial side of things, the abundant side of things. And so it's time with Mars now in Taurus to rebirth yourself as you are. You know, once you were this lowly camel, you know, I don't want to say camels are lowly because I don't believe that, but, you know, kind of plodding along slow camel. And then you came out as a lion and ready to roar and, you know, the top of the food chain. And now it's shifted into this pure spirit, you know, this boy playing a flute, the pureness of your spirit. So recognize yourself as that and use that to rebirth your value as you put your dreams out there to be realized. And I love this card from the goddesses with it. Coventina, I don't know how to say her name. Purification. And I love this in light of this energy because it says it's time for a cleansing detoxification of your body and mind. And, you know, our mind is so responsible for our worth and our value and what our mind has to say about us. And so cleaning that out, becoming really aware of what you're saying about yourself, like, I am worth it. I am amazing and I'm worth it, is a powerful thing. And then on the other side of it, cleansing your body. You know, again, Taurus is this very physical sign. And, you know, treating your body as if you're worth it, treating your body as if you value it, you know, can mean cleansing it and putting good feeling foods into it. And helping us with the body side of this whole thing, I love how the astro works. It's all working together. The moon will move into Virgo tomorrow. So moon in Virgo does take our attention. It takes our attention to the daily reality. But I do think that there's nothing more prominent in our daily reality than our physical body. So moon into Virgo, Mercury switching signs. So my words are like, bleh, bleh, bleh. Anyways, moon into Virgo is helping us bring our attention there. And I love the Osho card that I pulled. I pulled consciousness. So consciousness is being like conscious, aware. What is your body saying? I always like to remind people, every cell in your body has something to say. Every cell in your body has consciousness. Every organ in your body has its own consciousness and things to say. And if you tune in, you can get so many amazing messages from your body. So be willing to tune in. And along with this, I love this, I pulled Ixchel, which is medicine woman, and it's you are a channel for divine healing power. And I did my horoscopes for this week, and I don't remember if it's tomorrow or Wednesday, but there's an amazing connection between Venus and Chiron. And part of what I was saying with that is you are an incredible healer. We are all healers. So recognizing that in yourself, and part of our healing energy, part of it, it's natural. It's unconscious. It's within our body. But another part of it, and what you learn in Reiki, I teach Reiki, and you learn this, is you can also be a conduit, like a chalice, for divine healing energy. And so much of that is in intention. So recognize that in yourself, and maybe take a little time to, like, even if you, whether you do Reiki or not, whether you have a healing technique or not, if there's something that's hurting you in your body, put your hand on it and just imagine the energy of source, spirit, God, universe, whatever it is, flowing through you, flowing in the top of your head and through you, and going into that. Or just even sending your own love energy, like, I love you, sending it, that kind of thing. There's so much power in the power of touch, and just even in the intention of healing. So next, we are moving into full moon lunar eclipse. So the moon will move into Libra on Friday, and we have early in the morning on Saturday the full moon lunar eclipse, which Nikki and I did the horoscope for that today. So if you'd like to hear all about that, we did a really cool horoscope for that on Saturday. It's already out on our Gaia Blooming YouTube channel. But it's a pretty cool thing, and it's bringing balance and issues of relationships up. And my focus in relationships is always looking at yourself, because everything that's going on out there in your relationships, whether it's love relationships, romantic, friendship, work, any of those things, it's reflecting something back to you about yourself and your own relationship with yourself. So it's funny. I have 2 slowing down cards in my Osho deck, and both of those came up, which is really funny because the Sabian symbol for the lunar eclipse for 14 degrees Libra is a man taking a siesta on a hot afternoon. So slowing down, and I think slowing down is really important because it does make you pay attention to the present. Sometimes we are so like this, that we don't pay attention to what's happening in this very moment. So this energy is like, slow down, be present. And that's kind of Mars and Taurus. Again, slow and steady wins the race. So we're getting this message over and over. And I also pulled the card, the Burden. I like this card. I like all the cards, but I like this card for this because you see this man, and he's carrying another man who's like directing him, telling him what to do. And then on top of that is like a rooster who's like, I am in charge. And how I liken this to is like how some of us do relationships, where we will take responsibility for everything in the relationships and carry it on our back and wear ourselves out. Look at this guy. He's worn out. And so I think this is reminding us you have to be responsible for yourselves. Tune into your own needs. Let other people take care of themselves. I think it's part of our responsibility actually to let others take care of themselves and take care of their own things. There are times to step in. There's times to help. We talk about this a lot in the video. You know, there's very, you know, reciprocal helping. There's time for that. But if you're carrying somebody, you're not doing yourself or them any favors. So it's time to put down those things that feel like burdens and look in, take that slowing down thing. Look, why is this a burden? Why does this feel like a burden? What is it about this that's a burden? And maybe you can shift some things. And that's an incredible thing. And that's, you know, ultimately the energy of full moon lunar eclipse is shifting relationships. So that's pretty cool. After that, next day we have the moon moving into Scorpio, which always takes us down into ourselves. So I think if there's anything that hasn't been completely revealed with this full moon lunar eclipse coming, you know, moon in Scorpio will be like, okay, I'll show you. And again, here we have the moon card and it's saying silence. Take some silence. Take some alone time. Take some meditation to tune into yourself. And I also pulled, this is an interesting card, the Outsider. And I always like this card because this little boy is like, hey, I want to go in through that gate, but I don't think I can. And meanwhile, the gate's unlocked. He just hasn't bothered to pull the chain. It almost reminds me of, you know, those stories about elephants, how they'll say, like, when elephants are little, they'll chain them to, like, a heavy trunk or something so that they can't move it. And so that they're so trained that when the chain's around them, they can do it to, like, a plastic chair. And even though they could, like, throw that thing like a piece of candy, it's not like that. They don't do it because they're so trained. And it's almost the same thing. We see these chains and we think we can't get in there. And I liken that to our root chakra stuff, our deepest issues. Sometimes we stay outside like, oh, I don't think I can get in there. And you absolutely can. And you can get in there and you can shift things and you can give yourself a bright future. But you have to sometimes be willing to take that chain off. And that's scary because that's part of our conditioning. You know, like, oh, it's safer in there. Meanwhile, from the goddesses, it's saying, hey, at the same time, easy does it. No need to push yourself too hard. There's no need to hurry or force it. Don't force that chain off. Do things in your own timing. And everything is happening in perfect timing. So that takes us, the moon in Scorpio takes us through GNO next week. But I wanted to pull a card for the last week of Jupiter in retrograde. Next week, I think Wednesday, Jupiter goes direct. So for our last week of this internal work with Jupiter, working on our hearts, working on our heart expansion, heart chakra expansion. And I pulled one of my favorite cards. I keep saying that, I know, sorry. But I pulled Abundance. And this dude, I love it. He's got it figured out. He's found balance in his life. He is living the spiritual life, and he's also enjoying the earthly life. He's honoring his heart. He's like, hey, this is what feels good for me. I love myself. Sorry, I froze. Okay, so back. Anyways, he's enjoying the moment. I think our you know, Jupiter retrograde is turning us within and allowing us to tune into our inner child so that we can enjoy the moment. So that's what he's saying. And I pulled Kali, endings and beginnings. And I think the more we tune into our heart, we're like, do I love this? Is this right for me? And maybe some things will be and maybe some things won't be. And so, you know, the old must be released so the new can enter. There's more for you to love in this world. So, you know, call in Kali if you need some help. And I realized I didn't use the goddess cards for the lunar eclipse. So I pulled Nematona, Sacred Space. It says, create an altar or visit a power place to connect with the divine. And I always love this. Around any time, it's great to have a sacred space, but especially during big energy events, it's such a major thing to take some time, do some ceremony, and make a sacred space for yourself. I mean, I like to treat every flat space as an altar. So I always have something going on. And then I also pulled Sekhmet, be strong. And says you are stronger than you think you are, and your strength assures a happy outcome. So I'm going to try to finish up. I pulled a cool card from my Mother Mary Oracle, which I set to the side. And I pulled it for this week, and I loved it. So I thought I would actually read it to you. This is the card I pulled. We'll see if my computer lasts, and if not, sorry. Our Lady of Becoming. It says, this oracle comes to you with a message of grace and divine blessings from Mother Mary. That which you sense within, that unfolding destiny of which you dream, will be. It is time to believe, to act with a sense of inevitability rather than hopeful fantasy. This is not a time to hold back and compromise on what is possible, but to surrender the how to the Divine Mother and allow her to assist you in becoming what you are deep within. This oracle comes to you at a time when you may be uncertain of your future and what is happening within you, or whether or not anything is happening at all, and you're asked to surrender all your concern to Mother Mary's care and to take a step, any step that feels right for you. You might be enrolling in a class or doing some practice. It's time to say yes to that which you've been waiting for. So I really love this because I feel this unfolding in my life. And so I know if it's happening for me, it's happening for you as well. Our Lady of Becoming. So that is it for today. I guess I did this by myself today, but I will see you next week, and check out the daily horoscopes for all the cool stuff, and check out our horoscope that we did for this full moon lunar eclipse. It was really fun. I will see you next week. Namaste.